Okay, good morning. I'm going to talk about substitution this morning. Okay, substitution is a principle of being able to take one item, two items that are equal value, and interchange those items back and forth. That's the idea of substitution. They've got to be equal. So, but these things are equal, they're interchangeable. Okay. Now they don't look the same, but they are interchangeable. So this equal sign here tells us that these are equal. Okay, so we know that they can interchange. So I can take the b in this equation and take it out and put an a in there because these are interchangeable. So these two pieces right here can change in and out as much time as you want. Now, what that does for us then is it takes an equation like this, where we have two equations and two unknowns, and an equation like this that has two different variables, cannot be solved. This is as simplified as I can get it. Okay, but what I can do is I can take this item right here that's in the box, and it says x equals this, so I've got to have this x equals. I have to have an x equals, my pen's sucky here, an x equals, or a y equals, it doesn't matter which one. I have to have one of those things show up. I've got an x equals here, so I take this stuff right here with x equals, and I take this x out of this second equation, and I put this in its place. And what that does, that's called a substitution because they're equal values. So I take the x out, like taking the a out, putting the b in. Well, there's the b right there. Put it in there. And so I get this equation now with this in the place of x. And what it does, it gives us a single variable equation. So I only have one variable in there, it's a y. And so I can solve this equation and get it down to where I know what y is. Now, once I know what y is, I have to find both values. I have to know what x and y is both. So I take whatever I know what y is, I substitute that number back into one of the equations. It doesn't matter which one. We've chosen the top one here to show the example. That's the easy one because it's already solved, but you can do either one, doesn't matter. And I put the y back in there, so I have x equals -1, that's what's going in place of y, plus 5, so I know x equals 4. So now I have both equations. I have to know what both numbers are. So I know what x is and what y is to be done. Okay, so I have the answer 4, -1. Now, this works best when the number in front of the variable is a 1. So this is a 1x, a 1y. This 3 would not work. This 2 would not work. Okay, here's why. If I take that 3x plus 2y and it equals 10, remember I have to have an x equals or a y equals. So if I solve for one of the variables, I'm going to get a mess here. If I solve that x, I'm going to minus 2y from both sides, and I'm going to get 3x equals -2y plus 10. I'm going to divide everything by 3. And if I do this, I can do this. I get the x equals what I'm looking for, but here's what I get to work with. I get to work with 2/3, and I get to work with 10/3. Not ideal. That's why I don't want to play with that. But if I have a 1 in front, then I don't have to have a fraction there. I don't have any fractions, so that's why I like the 1. So it works best when we have a 1 in that. Okay, we need to solve for x. So we have an xy, an x equals or y equals, doesn't matter which one. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so what I do then is we look at our equations. Our equation says, okay, here's a simple one. We have something like this on our assignment. Okay, my first equation, x plus y equals 6. My second equation, x equals 4. So what that tells me then is that I've got an x equals. I need this. I have an x equals. It's right there. I'm going to take whatever x equals. I'm going to put it in place of the x in the other equation. So it's going to go right in there. Okay, so now the new equation is 4. That's what x was. Plus y equals 6. I solve this equation. So I minus 4 from both sides. And I get y equals 2. Okay, so now I know what my x is. My x is 4. My y is 2. Or I can put it like this. 4 and 2. Okay? So there's how we do that. Now, okay, so that's the basic idea of taking one number out, putting another in place. Now, the next kind of thing, when we have two equations, both of them are set y equals, so I have both I have my y equals that I need to have, a y equals or an x equals. I have one of those. And the trick is, and this is kind of tricky, not really though, okay, is that, okay, we want to look at this equation here. So okay, we both have y equals 4x plus 11, y equals, but these y's are equal. So if this y and this y are the same thing, then this y equals that and that y equals that. So this then can take this right here, whatever this is right here, and put this in place of that y right there. Okay? So I take this y out, I put in the 4x plus 11 in for that y, and then that equals x plus 38. Okay? Once I get that substitution made, I put that in where that y is. Now I could have, yes, putting this number, this value into that y right there. It doesn't matter which way I go. Okay? It would just reverse the equation. So once I get there, I just got to solve the equation. So I draw my line. I have variables on two different sides, so I got to get rid of one of them. So I'll move the x over here, and I get 3x plus 11 equals 38. Okay, I move the 11 over this side, and I have 3x equals 27. Divide both sides by 3, and I have x equals 9. Now, with that intercept, with that answer right there, I'm not done yet because I don't know what the y equals. Okay, so I've got the x. I'm going to take that number now. I'm going to put that back into one of these x's. It doesn't matter which one, because which one you want. They're both solved for y, so it just matter which one. So if I put it in the top one, I get y equals 4 times 9 plus 11. Y equals 4 times 9 is 36, plus 11 would give me y equals 47. Okay, I can also put in the bottom one, and I get y equals 9 plus 38, which would also give me y equals 47. So it does not matter which variable, which equation I put it into, the top one or the bottom one, I'll get the same answer either way. So my answer then is x is 9 and y is 47. Okay, so once you find the x, you just got to go find a place to put that x in one of the equations, and you substitute back in there. Okay. All right. Next kind is going to be a substitution here. We have two equations given to us, and we look for, first thing we look for is to have an x equals or a y equals. And so I look for that here. I don't have it in the top equation, but I do have it in the bottom equation. I have a y equals right there. So that y equals, I'm taking this stuff that y equals, all this stuff right here. I'm going to put it in this equation where the y is. Okay, so I substitute it in there. So what I have is I have 5x minus 4 times whatever the y is going to be. I leave a nice big bracket there. Equals 8. And I take the second equation, this is 2x minus 5, and I put it in that place wherever the y was. So I have 2x minus 5 goes in there. And then I solve this equation. Okay? Now, I get 5x. Run this really quick. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8x. Negative 4 times negative 5 is positive 20. Equals 8. Like terms next, so 5x minus 8x is negative 3x. Plus 20 equals 8. I minus 20 from both sides. So I get negative 3x equals negative 12. Divide by negative 3, and I get x equals 4. Now, once I have that 4, I got to go find a place to put that. I can put it in this x right there, or I can put it in this x right here. It does not matter. One is easier than the other one. The easy one is the one that's already solved for y. So I'm going to choose to put it in the bottom one, but I could put it up there and get the same answer. Okay, and I showed that in the last one. So I'm going to take this bottom equation, I'm going to go 2 times x, which is 4, minus 5 equals y, and solve this equation. So 2 times 4 is 8. 8 minus 5 equals y. So 8 minus 5 is 3, so 3 equals y. So I've got my answers now, so my solution is, well, down here it says x is 4, y is 3. I could also put it in the coordinate format, so 4 and 3 like that. Okay? Alright, one last thing. There's one more type of example. It's not on your example sheet, but it looks like this. I'm going to find one here. Okay? That's not the one I wanted here. Okay? Alright, let's see if I can find one here. Okay, here's one right here. Okay, so we have this equation that says negative 2x plus 5y equals 14. My second equation is negative 3x plus y equals negative 5. Okay, so those my equations are given to me. Remember, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for an x equals or a y equals. Now, I gotta look for that. So don't have it there, don't have it there. That's not it, that's not it. So I gotta make one. So I gotta pick which one to make. Now, because of that fraction thing we talked about, getting this crappy fraction, if I pick the wrong number, I don't want to do that. So I don't want these fractions. So I want to pick a number that has a 1 as a coefficient. Okay? Right? And then, so what I pick is I don't want this one. It's got a number, not that one, not that one, but I want that one. So I take that y. I'm going to solve for that y right there. So I take this equation and I add 3x to both sides. Okay? And I get y equals 3x minus 5. So now I've created my y equals. So sometimes I have to create my y equals. Now, where do I put that? Well, I do not put it back where it came from. That was that thing we talked about. We don't put it back, okay? In solving a variable, this last question was solving for a variable, you must plug it into the other equation. So I can't put it back into itself. I need to put it back into that x, that y right there. Okay? So I'm going to take this negative 2x plus 5y, 5 times y goes like this, big old parenthesis, equals 14. And I'm going to take this 3x minus 5 and put it right in there. So 3x minus 5. Then I'm going to solve this equation. So I get negative 2x plus, let's see, that's going to be 15x. That one's going to be negative 25 equals 14. Like terms, that's going to give me 13x minus 25 equals 14. So I'm going to add 25 to both sides. And so I get, x equals 13x equals 39. Divide both sides by 13. And I get x equals 3. Now, I've got an x, so I need to go find my y now. So go back to my original equations, and I have first choice. I can put it in this y right here. There's my first choice. Oh no, it's got to be an x. Sorry, it's got to be x. It's got to be this one here. That x, first choice. That x, second choice. Well, actually, that x is another choice I could make, third choice, and that's actually the easiest one because it's already solved for y. So I'm going to go y equals 3 times whatever x is 3, so put it right here, minus 5. So y equals 9 minus 5. So y equals 4. So my solution then is 3 and 4. Okay? That's substitution in a nutshell. Okay? If you have any questions, just come and see me.